A lot of people compare the concept of what it means to birth an idea or birth a new concept or birth a new version of yourself. They compare that to what it feels like to give birth to a child. It's comparable because it has a lot of similarities in what it means to actually bring it to manifestation. A lot of people talk about that, but they don't talk about the contractions. When a woman is about to give birth and when her water breaks, the doctor can typically track just how far along she is based off of her contractions. And it's the same thing similar to you when you're about to give birth to an idea. When you get closer and closer to the birthing of your manifestation, the birthing of your business, the birthing of your new lifestyle you're about to live, you have contractions as well. It looks a bit different, but in a way it's similar. No one talks about the contractions that you go through when you're on the brink of birthing something. No one talks about that because, see, the contractions for you may not look like the physical pains that it looks like when a mother is about to give birth to a child. Most of it is internal. Most of it is emotional, it's mental. So, for example, the contractions for you, depending on where you are or how far along you are in this birthing process, in the beginning stages, when it's still like when your water first breaks, when you first get the idea, the contractions that you have can look something like the fluctuations that you have in your emotions. You all of a sudden become more irritable than usual. You have really extreme highs and really dark lows before you balance out in your emotions. When you start having those first contractions, it looks like chaos in terms of not knowing which way is left or right. You feel a bit dazed and confused. It's almost like a disconnect from reality. You feel a bit out of sorts. You don't really know what direction you're going in. You feel a bit lost, confused. Those are contractions. When you're getting closer and closer to the manifestation, your contractions may also look like feeling almost like erratic, impulsive, not knowing how to manifest something, not necessarily. But let's say, for example, this is in terms of you birthing a business or you about to step into a more creative lifestyle. Your contractions may look like you feeling an extreme disconnect from your usual routines, your usual hobbies, your usual go-tos, your usual coping mechanisms. All of a sudden, you don't want to smoke anymore. Or if you are trying to smoke or picking back up on those coping mechanisms, it doesn't hit the same, does it? Yeah, that's a part of the contractions as well. You feel this intense desire to want to isolate yourself. That's a part of your contractions. You feel an intense longing to want to get still, want to get silent. Noise has become too much. You become irritable. You become extremely sensitive to the people around you and the projections that people place on you, the projections that you've placed on yourself. You become hyper aware of what's going on around you and internally. That's a part of your contractions. There's this phase that you go through where you just don't have your foot on solid ground. And it's because the old foundation, once your water breaks, your old foundation is gone. So you go through this phase, and you have been going through this phase of not really having a sense of stability. You go through this transition between worlds. You sit in this void. You get to this place where in the beginning stages of when your water breaks and you first start having those contractions, it feels almost as if like you have no real grip on who you really are. That's a part of the process. You have no idea who you really are, what you really want, what you thought you wanted, you don't want anymore. That's a part of the contractions too. It's the contractions, and based off of where the doctor, God, your internal, it can track based off where you are and how far along you are from the manifestation, from giving birth, you can track it based off of your contractions. The doctor typically tracks just how far along you are based off of your contractions, how far along you are, how long those episodes go, how long you sit in those seasons of feeling depleted, or in some cases you're spiritually depressed, meaning you're stretched thin. You do a lot of shadow work, you do a lot of journaling, and all of a sudden you have this desire to not want to do any of that, because instead you have a deep desire to want to rest. That's a part of the contractions. And this is different, right? This is different from just a wilderness season that we talked about, or different from a transition season that we talked about, because you have gone through seasons like that before. And if you notice in the past, before your water actually broke, you would sit in that longer. These seasons would last for years, months. It would last longer because you were in the beginning stages. That was your pregnancy. But now your water has broke. And I hope you guys are following along with me, because I'm obviously speaking metaphorically. A lot of you are not physically pregnant with the child. Some of you are. But a lot of you, you're pregnant with an idea. You're pregnant with a business. You're pregnant with prophecy. Meaning there is a particular phase and moment in your life that is destined to happen for you. You've always been meant to be a business owner. You've always been meant to step into the entertainment industry. It was never a matter of if. It was always a matter of timing. And the timing is out of your control. But your water has now broken. You are no longer in the conception stages of that. Your water has broke. And what I mean by that is you're starting to get more clarity on what it is that you're meant to do. Even if you don't know how you're going to manifest it, your water has broken in terms of the sense of now getting more clarity on what you want to actually do, who you actually are, what direction you want to go in. That is what happens when your water breaks. What happens after that is the contractions. And just to circle back around to what I said before, is that you can always tell how far along you are from the water breaking to the actual birthing of it based off of your contractions. You no longer sit in the contractions long. It gets shorter and shorter. You may have depression spells. You may have seasons where, just like in the transition season, you were lost, but you don't sit in it as long. Your contractions get shorter and shorter and shorter the closer you get to birth. The closer you get to the manifestation, your contractions get shorter and shorter and shorter. Meaning if you have depression spells where you no longer have you don't feel the need to want to sit in bed, or you just feel lost, you feel down on yourself, you don't sit in that as long. You can always tell, because in the beginning stages, the timing you sit in it gets shorter, right? So when you're getting closer to birth, the manifestation is getting closer. It's getting closer and closer to the time, to a prophetic occurrence where you're about to step into something, you're about to meet someone, you're about to actually start the business. The contractions for that looks a bit different as well. Meaning all of a sudden you feel, you get this burst of energy. Confirmation. Those contractions look different the closer that you get to manifestation. So these contractions look like, again, it can look like bursts of energy where all of a sudden you're tired, and then you get this second wind about yourself where you just want to, you impulsively want to start putting things in place. You impulsively feel the need to want to start making room in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit. You're unconsciously making room for something to come in. And that's not coincidental. A lot of this is unconscious. Because see, when you're about to give birth to a manifestation, you may not consciously know why you're doing certain things, but your spirit always knows when you're getting close to giving birth, when the baby is about to come. The business is about to take off. A lot of it is spiritual. You don't even know why all of a sudden you wanna clean up more. You feel the need to eat cleaner. You feel the need to surrender. That is a sign of birth.